Quantum jumping is the highly appealing notion that you can shift into any desired state of your reality, creating a completely new physical, emotional, and mental experience. So, what's not to like about it? Clearly, everybody will love this idea that you can shift states of consciousness in order to entertain the reality you've been dreaming of. However, it's not as simple as simply desiring that reality, simply believing in it, or wanting to achieve it because you think that it's going to be the ideal state for you. There's many nuances when it comes to quantum jumping, which are often negated because the ideal of that quantum jump and the reality that exists on the other side of it is overpowering. And so people can become very much egoically entwined with this idea of what the quantum jump is for and what it will allow them to experience. If you're unfamiliar with what a quantum jump is, check out my first video on quantum jumping before we continue down the rabbit hole. There's so much more to unpack about this, and the reason why I want to go deeper into it is because there are so many misconceptions when it comes to quantum jumping. Most people don't really understand what they're doing or what they need to do in order to facilitate a proper quantum jump. This is not some imaginal state of choosing to move into the desired reality simply through the fantasy of wanting to get there. It's a much more complex and intricate process of understanding consciously why you're choosing to shift states of reality and how you're getting there by becoming the wholesome continuation of that which you want to manifest. So let's begin by unwrapping what it means to actually quantum jump on this deeper level versus what most people think a quantum jump is about. Stereotypically, to quantum jump is simply to move into a new reality by changing the thought or the belief or the desire about what you're currently experiencing. So most people begin the quantum jump process by imagining they want to be a different version of themselves, experiencing the reality of their dreams. Maybe that reality involves the addition or the elimination of something that's currently troubling you. Maybe you want to be experiencing something more that you currently are not in touch with. As a result of attaining that certain thing, you might experience a happier version of yourself. So perhaps you're seeing that when you are adding in the desired state of being, you bring yourself into the desired experience of who you are. The thing that we need to understand about this is that you're artificially adding in new elements into your field to imagine that your fixation to those new imaginal elements is going to bring you to the desired state, be it experiencing more bliss, more joy, more comfort, or connection to yourself. That then implies that you currently are not there. You're not yet experiencing the desired state, and you believe that you need to be a different version of yourself only after you experience the things in your life that you think will get you there. This creates an addiction and an attachment to that imagined state. And so people can become very addicted to the conquest for the things that they believe they need to be happy, successful, or in a more loving state of being. This is not too far from the commonly perpetuated notion of manifestation, or choosing to imagine how it feels to be in a desired state of being in order to get there. The issue with this is that, A, you can't ever be sure that what you think you need to be happy is what you actually need to experience balance and connection to your soul, and B, by choosing simply to ruminate on the state of how it's going to feel to have this thing of your desires, you might not be actually aligning yourself with the practice of achieving it. Because achievement and manifestation, in the full rounded sense of what it means to be a creator, implies a lot more than just imagination. Imagination is that primordial state where you look at yourself as the blank slate of conscious awareness. If you're in the imaginal state, you're letting yourself entertain a new possibility. It can be a possibility that's given rise to simply by the ego. It can be something you imagine because you internalize it as a dream from somebody else's expectations. You might imagine something is the best option for you because you see a celebrity is promoting that idea, or perhaps you're seeing that it's something you think you need relative to societal standards or external expectations. It's easy to imagine that you will be happy when you cling on to something that is externally a source of that satisfaction. But that doesn't necessarily mean when you connect to that thing, it's going to elicit the truly balanced state in your own field of awareness. So, how can you know for sure that what you're looking to manifest or quantum jump into experiencing is what you truly need? This also reveals then that there are a lot of biases surrounding this state of quantum jumping. You might not realize exactly why it is that you want to subconsciously change from experiencing what you currently are into that new frame of your awareness. Why is it that you want to quantum jump away from what you're currently dealing with and into a completely new mode? What that's going to entail is, first of all, understanding who you are in this present moment. Because you can never quantum jump into a new reality without fully actualizing the awareness of what you're currently harboring, your current thoughts, your current feelings, your current desires, and also the difference between your ego and your soul's interpretation of what you're currently going through. If you're looking to quantum jump, quite literally away from your current reality, then you might be trying to abandon yourself in the process. You might not be choosing to understand your emotional state, or perhaps some of your mental reasons for wanting to escape what you're currently dealing with. And if that's the case, then what you're trying to do is to basically quantum jump away from you, from deeper integration and emotional empathy toward yourself. You can't simply approach this practice of manifestation or quantum jumping as a solution to running away from yourself. Because if that's the case, you might end up manifesting change, but it's only going to reveal deeper fragmentation in the long run. You might realize ultimately, after achieving some kind of a physical shift, that it's showing you are not still satisfied with yourself. You might feel deeper schisms forming in your identity, because although you're conjuring up this new version of yourself, that might just be a new egoic layer. It's very easy to fragment away from the essential self into a different, more refined version of your identity, one that is perhaps more successful, more physically accomplished, more attractive, more complete in certain egocentric ways, because as you don those new costumes of your identity, you're finding a way to filter out deeper uncomfortable feelings and deeper things you don't want to be experiencing. And yes, that too is the result of a quantum jump. But it's not a jump that results in wholeness or feeling of true coherence. It's simply a shift away from the baseline reality of who you are at the soul level into a more altered state in which you are not yourself and you're deluding yourself into thinking you're experiencing the true state of being when really you're not. The other thing that can go wrong when it comes to quantum jumping is you might start to experience a split when it comes to thinking you're quantum jumping into a new reality. However, something is not actually clicking and aligning you with that reality. For example, there's a commonly perpetuated belief that it's enough to simply imagine you are in that desired state of being. As this law of attraction belief goes, if you simply feel as though you've already gotten there, then you're able to spontaneously shift into that state of consciousness and become the version of yourself that already has it. This is problematic on multiple levels. First of all, what you're dealing with is a deeper fixation or an attachment to that state of being. And so you think simply playing the role of the person that's gotten on the other side of the materialistic conquest for what you think you need, it's going to put you in that desired emotional state. Mentally, you might be there. You might use your imagination to feel even the actual neurochemical stimulation of that joyride that might come as a result of attaining what you want. But simply feeling as though you've manifested $1 million or the desired car, life, or job isn't going to actually allow you to achieve it. The creation act implies allowing yourself to think, feel, and act in tandem, to not just synthesize the concept of being the creator and, having created it, feel a certain way, but to actually bring yourself into the sequential thought pattern that allows you to be emotionally aligned with the process of manifestation. This is something that can be a slow burn at times. You're not going to create anything overnight, and you need to be deeply aligned with the process of achievement in order to get there. For example, if you're looking to achieve a long-term journey of satisfaction with yourself, you're going to first need to quantum jump into a state in which you are satisfied with yourself and with how you feel at your core. That will in turn allow you to access your true intentions, allow you to transmute certain inhibitions and feelings of deeper doubt and denial, so that you can then allow yourself to unlock your abilities, your talents, your gifts, and your ability to love yourself through the process of creation in the long term. That then will allow you to open new doors, to access higher level possibilities, perhaps aligning with certain things that you might have been afraid of accessing in the past, so that you can truly live out the life of your dreams. That will eventually bring you to attract the financial opportunities, the relationships, and the different other doors that will unlock your happiness and bliss in the long term. However, it's not going to be an overnight experience. For you to quantum jump into the desired state of being, you first need to let yourself experience satisfaction with yourself and nurture the ability to be whole and to experience all of your true self emergent in this present moment. If you can quantum jump into the space of allowing yourself to integrate physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, what you're going to experience is profound self-love and an ability to even slow down time and assume responsibility for everything that's currently collapsing as possibilities in your inner world. You're going to look at yourself with softness, with grace, with love and respect. And that's going to allow you to understand who you really are, what you really need, and what you desire as your life continues to unfold. That's the ultimate quantum jump you can create for yourself, choosing not just to hypothesize that if you go down a certain energetic pathway, it's going to bring you to that intentional state of being, but choosing to live more unconditionally and presently so that you can choose to override decades of trauma, limitation, conditioning, and programming so that you can enter the state of true beingness. And if you can get there, the quantum jumps that will follow will simply be more in alignment with who you are at the deepest level. For instance, anytime you're faced with a decision to either align more with the true self and the authentic state of your being versus choosing to go the more egocentric route, perhaps ignoring your deepest feelings, your intuition, or resorting to certain temptations occurring in the outer realm. You quantum jumping into the state of being more in alignment allows you to continue down that soulful path and brings you into a feeling of deeper satisfaction and connection to yourself, where those decisions will become more and more effortless over time, to the point that they won't feel like quantum jumps at all. The reason why a quantum jump feels like a quantum jump is because if you haven't been feeling inclined to choose yourself and to choose alignment, then it's going to feel like quite a cathartic move every single time you need to align with that deeper state of alignment. You're going to be jumping over fear, doubt, inhibition, resistance, and a feeling of uncertainty, because if you have not been choosing your soul in the past, you're going to need to jump over that imaginary hurdle in order to get there. So the jump should feel like it smoothens out over time, and it should move into a track in which you're feeling connected to that higher state of consciousness consistently. So the quantum jump you really need to facilitate once and for all is the decision to choose alignment, to choose your heart over your mind more often than not, to choose your deeper spiritual state of awareness and knowing rather than your mind's fearful thinking and conditional expectations. Whenever you feel uneasy about what to do or how to feel, it's worth quantum jumping into the state of allowing yourself to hold space for your entire experience, to allow your heart to guide you, to allow your soul to speak to you. And choosing to resort to this higher level way of thinking and being allows you to shift gears and to quite literally move into a state of observation and allying with yourself rather than feeling against yourself, which is a massive shift for many of us to undergo. Quantum jumping does not simply work because you're trying to jump over what you don't want to be experiencing. What we need to focus on doing instead is actually integrating the part of us that wants us to create that jump, the part of us that wants us to take the shortcut and to override our deeper feeling and state of awareness. If there's any resistance you're currently going through, it's going to be impossible to just jump over that or to out-manifest what you don't want to be feeling. It's critically important to include your emotional state into this entire development of what you want to be creating in the long term, because that's going to allow you to understand what needs to be transmuted, what needs to be empathized with, and what needs to be catered to before you can effectively make the right decisions moving forward. If you allow yourself to quantum jump in such a way that you facilitate long-term coherence, you're going to come to an agreement between your physical body, your emotional state, your mental body of consciousness, and your spiritual domain. You're going to achieve a kind of symbiotic relationship in which every part of you is coinciding. What you're thinking is going to align with what you feel. What you feel inside is going to be communicated outside of you. The way that you act is going to be in accordance with what you're choosing to think and feel. And your mind and heart are going to work in tandem to bring those feelings and synergized actions into the desired state of being so that you can consistently act on who you are at your core rather than trying to manifest a version of yourself who you are not. It's important to know that if you're not choosing to be authentic, quantum jumping is only going to do you more of a disservice because you're going to try to jump into a timeline in which you're experiencing more satisfaction that's going to only stoke your ego and make you feel more complete when in reality, you need to get to the root of why you're choosing to play this inauthentic game rather than trying to manifest the feeling of inner wholeness that allows you to then be more yourself and experience the less is more kind of reality consistently. Quantum jumping is not a shortcut, but it's a very real way to understand how reality is created in the most advantageous way possible when you choose to actively support your own alignment. That means choosing not to exclude any aspect of your experience and choosing to be responsible for everything that is playing out in your field. Nothing can be ignored, and nothing will be ignored because you're going to see the active reflection of everything that's been locked away in your shadow or the deepest part of your subconscious mind for you to further unlock that which you've been suppressing. If you choose to see everything that you've been manifesting as a part of the experience that needs to be understood, you can understand what needs to be healed internally for the ultimate quantum jump into a life of honest responsibility and taking ownership of everything you've been creating, feeling, thinking, and also trying to run away from. Because when you stop the chase for things outside of you and choose to run toward yourself, you'll get much closer to the understanding of why reality is the way that it is. And you'll be able to find the new reality in simply choosing to connect those dots. And at that point, you won't even want to quantum jump. You're going to be experiencing reality as a continuation of your enlightened state of being, because everything is unfolding as a result of the shifts in your consciousness. And the more you're aware of what you are consciously feeling and experiencing, the easier it will be to sculpt your reality effortlessly and consciously because you realize you have been creating it all along.